Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happenstance in this Truth Bomb riff. My name is Patrick Lovell. I'm the producer with a $71 trillion truth and the vehicle to the Clean New Deal. And I am joined to my immediate left by my colleague, the Mighty Mouse out of Chicago, standing 4'8" with a power punch of truth and justice for all. Her name is Roseanne Rabiola Mile, and we are joined through the social media moment, which is really terrific at times where you get to meet people that you interact with on occasion out there in the ethosphere. And we had met Leslie, who had taken it upon herself to be proactive about basically taking the Clean New Deal and helping it, I think, foment and get to women out there that she finds the message important in a specific way. But before I say too much about it, let's introduce Leslie and kind of get a gauge of who Leslie is. Nice to see you this morning, Leslie.
Y'all too.
Tell us a little
Thank
bit
you.
about yourself and how you came to know the Clean New Deal.
Well, like you, I had something happen to me that changed your whole way of thinking, and Roseanne too. What I've learned from both of y'all. So it's kind of we had the same experience where just something just changed you. It goes in your body. You can't help it, and you got to find out what it was. And it was August 2014, which I put in my Declaration of Independence. I wrote another one, 9 years, well, 10 years ago this February. I seen something horrific on my TV in the middle of the night. I had to wake up to pee 3 o'clock in the morning or so, and I had moved back with Daddy, and he was, in his room, in my room, my old room I grew up in, and waking up TV, used the bathroom, and the ABC morning edition, middle of the night edition, 3 a.m. World News, and I would have it on there. I mean, I would watch it all the time. Well, this particular morning, I laid back down and I rolled over, but I said, "Oh, it's about to come on 3 o'clock. Yeah, let me watch, see what's happening." And they showed four. I can't handle any kind of abuse. Let me put that out there first. So when abuse goes in me and I see it, you know what I mean? I can't. I mean, my kids, I have to plug my ears, everything. Well, anyway, this particular morning, there were four stories back to back that just floored me and changed me forever. And that's why I started studying Congress. My daddy told me it was Congress's fault. So the first story, it's on my declaration. You ain't probably read it, but I've got it pinned on my thing, the one I wrote after the election last year. Because nobody knew why I did what I did 10 years ago. My daddy did, nobody else, but my daddy knew what I seen on TV. He's the one that told me it was Congress's fault. So anyway, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. The first one's a person being burned in the cage. Second one is a woman being stoned to death. Never even knew what stoned to death meant. Anyway, it's over there in Iraq somewhere, and they got the woman. Horrific. Next one is somebody busting in the Iraq ISIS busting in, stealing six women's husbands, and the camera takes and goes around the living room and shows nothing but their eyes. Now they've got that black stuff, all over their face. All you see is their eyes, and their eyes, those women's eyes. I mean, just went through. All three of these stories. Next story was Michael Brown getting shot in the back by our cop here in America. So these are four horrific stories that, like I said, I can't handle abuse. So these were like, boom. So I couldn't go back to sleep, couldn't wait for my daddy. He would be up to watch Good Morning America, 7 o'clock every morning. So I was like, oh, is daddy going to get up? Because daddy was we were so tight, good man. He got shot and paralyzed in 78. But anyway, I was lucky to have him 43 more years. It was like he had a stroke, because he got shot in the neck. So it was like this side was paralyzed. And so he never was the same, but he was still my daddy mentally. And so I went in his room and I was like, Daddy, you're not going to believe what I've seen in the middle of the night on ABC News. So I started telling him, and I said, I've got to call Obama or send him a letter. Something's wrong. And he said, Daughter, it's not Obama's fault. It's Congress. So I've been raising kids. I had my first one 19, so I've never paid any attention to politics. Growing up in our age, you're told not to ignore it. So I never paid no attention. But I paid attention like when like when Hillary and Obama, got popular in 2007, little things like that, you know what I mean? But you're busy with kids. And so Daddy told me it wasn't Obama's fault, Congress. So I had heard Congress my whole life, the word, never knew what it meant. And so I started studying Congress. I didn't have kids by then. It was 2014. And of course, like I said, this went in my body, and I had to find out why this was on my TV. I was going to find out who approved this to be on my TV in the middle of the night. And so anyway, I find out about Congress, and I learn everything. And I texted you yesterday that I'm not book smart. I'm not financially smart. I'm street smart. Just the hood. I'm serious. That's all. I'm smart that way. And so I start studying words I'd never heard and all this. And so I start studying Congress, and I would go in Daddy's room and ask him, and he would guide me through things. But I still didn't tell nobody what was going on with me all the way. And so anyway, 10 months later, so I studied Congress for 10 months, and Dylan Roof went in that church and shot those 9 people in the head. And I came outside. I used to smoke cigarettes back then, and I lit up a cigarette, and I'm out there waiting for my daddy to get up because it's all over the phone at 6:30 in the morning. I was like, oh my God. Daddy, I hate guns, hate them with a passion. And I was like, Daddy. So I go in Daddy's room, because I needed to talk to him about it. And because I have to get things off my chest. So I go in Daddy's room. I was like, Daddy, the 15-year-old boy went to church in Charleston. ABC 7 o'clock comes on. Morning news, ABC, Good Morning America. And Daddy watched it. You know what I mean? I knew he'd be up 7 o'clock. So I go in there, and I'm like, Daddy, all right. And I look at Daddy's TV. 7 o'clock's coming on, and you're not gonna believe what Good Morning America had on. They had on a bunch of young white boys with Confederate flags walking in a circle. And I went outside, I lit a cigarette, I went back in, I said, Daddy, it's me. I'm the one that's going to stop gun violence in America. You know what I mean? I knew then it was me because I'd done studied Congress for 10 months and actually blamed them for my daddy being shot. So it was over with when I put that together. And Daddy just looks at me because he knows I've always been a strong woman. Every man in my life raised me to be a strong woman. So I don't know. I never was abused like, victims and all that. So I don't have that, abuse from men. So anyway, Daddy just looks at because he knows Leslie said it. Uh-oh. So he didn't say anything, and then about 6 months goes by, still did. So then I start studying Declaration of Independence, every word. I had to research the word, what it meant. I had no idea. I mean, I studied it, and then it was right before February, and I had put formaldehyde. Anyway, so I started studying the Declaration, how to change Congress is basically what I was trying to do. And so I did that, and I came out with my Declaration of Separation, which is on Scribd still. But Elon and Thiel, I didn't know that they were scrubbing the internet back then. So I put it all over Facebook, and I go on Twitter. Well, I actually took a bus, the Greyhound. Daddy gave me a bus because I wanted to take it to Obama. I didn't want to put it out there because it's so horrific and life changing. I'm asking for a whole new Congress, so I wanted President Obama to know at that time what I was doing before I went public on Twitter. So I take a bus up there, and I try to get him the paper, and they end up calling out a bomb threat and all kind of stuff. And then I come home, and I'm trying to email it to him, so I had to come home, couldn't get it to him. And so I come home and sent a message. Well, at that time, I also didn't know that Elon and Thiel were doing all these bots. You know what I mean? I was social media. I didn't know. And so I started putting it out there. And it's so terrible what I did about going to, my mama called it overthrowing the government. When I told her, she knew in December of 2015 what I was about to do. And she's like, Leslie, please. My mama's not like me. She's like, Ma, Leslie, please don't do it. Please. Please. I said, Mama, I can't help it. You know what I mean? I got to stop gun violence. I'm made for this is why I'm here. Stop gun violence. And so that's what I thought it was for. But now it's for helping women all over the world and children. And so it's amazing. Now, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I just talk and
Loud
talk.
and clear.
I never shut up. And
No.
so I do. But I just kind of want to show you what, you know, how you went through that with, like you're saying, your house and all that crisis. It does something to you. And when you find out it's your own government that did it, I mean, when I first seen that on the TV news with the person being burned, all them abuse stories, I actually thought it was ISIS. That's what we were being told, right? So I was like, I've got it written on my room back there, the room I, was living in then. I've got the woman that will change the world. I started writing it, not even knowing, but I write my feelings down, and it's all over my room back there. This was in 2014, and so I actually didn't know what was going to happen, but that's just what I was feeling. And and so I went on Twitter when I got the paper. I went to Obama to try to give it to him for a snap election to let the people reelect a new Congress. That was 2016 because I seen what they were doing. I had read how they blocked everything he tried to do all those years. But our Congress has always been dirty. John Adams designed it to be dirty. He ignored his wife before it was signed, and so I put that story all in there so everybody could understand why we can't never get away from abuse. You know what I mean? Because I had put it together.
Well, that's freaking awesome. I love it. You're a proactive person. You're not afraid to not know what you don't know, and you're obviously motivated to learn. And when you learn, you wanted to do something about it. And I think that is a surrogate for everything that we're in the midst of. And I love that because you know everybody's coming from a different place. Like I know people that have PhDs or master's degrees that know nothing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
you know what it's going to take? It's going to take. So when I found you and Roseanne in the middle of the night, y'all were like music to my ears because all this stuff that's going on, I know what to do about. I've actually done it. I took back the country before his inauguration. I was trying to call Biden and Kamala and begging them. I was like, please don't certify it, because I had put together that it was Elon and Thiel, and but I didn't know about. I knew about Eric Prince from 2017, and I know you're more, the financial part.
Wait a
That's why I
second,
was
wait a
telling you.
second. But you just said something extremely important. Did I just hear you identify Eric Prince?
Yes, I put it. You should see my blue sky. Since
Tell me,
student, I
tell
put
me what
names
you
out
know.
there. I say names.
Tell me what you know about Eric Prince.
Oh my gosh. This guy, this is who we're fighting right now. I've been trying to tell, when I knew it was him in June, when that congresswoman, I learned about him. And let me tell you a crazy story. See, Eric Prince, Elon Thiel, and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel knew all about me, but I did not know about them. You know what I mean? When I started on Twitter, I mean, I actually, my daddy was ready too. I actually, what I did was so big time. I expected to be killed next day. That was it. So every day since February 9th, 2016 is a blessing to me. I'm not kidding you. So I'm not scared of anything because I would have never did what I did. But I had to tell my kids, I knew what I was doing was so big. You're calling out the biggest, most powerful government ever to exist. I mean, that's what America kind of
Tell
is.
me what you okay, but what I love about this, I'm telling you from my lips to your ears, please do not underestimate what I'm saying here. You just identified the sort of triangle of what is truly underneath the vehicle of a lot of things that are the result of what it is that I've been putting out there for a long
I
time.
know.
But but
I know.
but
That's
again,
when I found you
nobody in
and
mainstream
Roseanne got
media,
her miracle.
nobody in mainstream media ever, when they talk about January 6th, when they do this, that, and the other, when they talk about masked ICE agents, when they ignore all the things that took place during the time period that you're talking about, particularly with Black Lives Matter, and then also the protests in Portland and also in Wisconsin at that time, we saw a bunch of unmarked vehicles with paramilitary troops that I, to this day, think came from Blackwater. I think they were mercenaries. I think they were
It is.
working. I think they were
It's
working
him.
for
Yep.
Eric Prince. And at that time period, as I recall, former Attorney General Bill Barr, who's of course his father, was the principal slash headmaster at the Dalton School that brought us Jeffrey Epstein. And there's a
Who
lot
did Bill? Who did say Bill Barr is his father?
His father was the headmaster of Dalton School. Long story, because
Okay. I thought you were that guy that was attorney
there's
general a
a lot
few
of in
years ago.
between stuff. But what's so important is that there is a continuity from that time period in the 80s with all of these things that started to manifest, particularly with intelligence. But ultimately, this brings us to this time period post 9/11 that had 20 years of war that led to mercenaries and billionaire apparatuses and global
Amen.
sort of
I
vectors.
know.
What I'm trying to sort out real quick, because based on everything you just said, I thought it was lively, I thought it was animated, I thought it was from the heart, and I thought it was beautiful. But then suddenly you get into naming Eric frickin' Prince. Bravo, Leslie, first and
Yeah.
foremost. And
I
wherever
figured
that
him
goes,
out in 2017.
okay, well, okay,
Do you know when they threatened to kill me? See, they didn't know I was still alive. This is what is so crazy. But I live where Reality Winner got arrested. People like you would know about Reality Winner. She was kept under the rug, locked up for 5 years. She was arrested here in Augusta. And my daddy had started telling me in '84 when him and mama got divorced, he would get drunk. And he would tell me and my brother Russia was going to try to take us over. We didn't know what daddy meant by it because before he got shot and all that, my mom and dad was like perfect family, you know. And then when mama left, because of course daddy couldn't spoil her anymore, so, and then then he was like a teenager. He started telling me and my brother in '84 that Russia, but I didn't know why. But so, like you said, it all goes back to I take it back to '84 because of that, and because of what I've learned. The formaldehyde law got overturned in '84. '87, the lying on the news law got overturned. Well, we all see now that should have never been overturned, but it's people behind the doors that don't give a shit about our lives. Now you got all these people with cancer. Oh, I saw my daddy stuff before he went to heaven. Oh, I told him, I said, Daddy, you know what's crazy? But he bought me an old raggedy camper to get in the back. We got a badass pool he built before he got shot. I mean, I grew up with a pool. It's bigger than the house. And so my life, good neighborhood and fun. I was telling Daddy before, I said, Daddy, I said, you know what's crazy? You bought me that camper. And I used to be in real estate. So that camper was like a mansion. It was 200 raggedy camper. Come to find out, that camper from Katrina, the formaldehyde where everybody had gotten sick after Katrina, and Warren Buffett took all them campers and they all ended up with cancer. I was in the first one built in 70 something with extra formaldehyde sprayed on it. Did not have no idea. I smelled something every morning, right? While I was studying the Declaration of Independence, I smelled every morning when the sun would hit it. This smell would come up. And so I'd be out there, and so this went on for 6 months. Finally, one morning, I Googled it. And that's when the Katrina campers come up. And I could not. So I go down a deep dive and learn that in '75, the campers were sprayed with extra formaldehyde. So formaldehyde ended up when the sun was hitting that camper. Now, this is an old ass camper. I mean, we're talking 2015 camper was made in '75. But every time you went to look it up, guess what it said on everywhere on the internet? On it, formaldehyde disappears. And I said, oh, hell no.
okay, hold on, Leslie. Leslie, first of all, just for the audience, I got to say this because your stream of consciousness is incredibly fun to watch. Okay, but I got to tell you, you're talking about some serious business. Look, on the front page of the New York Times 2 days ago, 2 days ago, the EPA announced that they're no longer considering deaths in terms of regulation. Okay, meaning that I'm from Texas originally, for example, and there's a lot of refineries down there. And we've had decades and decades of increased regulation based on science that protects people, particularly that live near, for example, those refineries. Now, they are literally allowing production while gutting regulation so that the folks that might be, I don't know, in your neighborhood or other neighborhoods that might live next to refineries that don't know much about much, they're going to start dying, probably right in front of people. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. I would not be surprised in a couple of years that people just walk out into their front yard and choke and fall flat on their face and die. And people start crying and going, how did that happen? Could you imagine being so ridiculous as to not ask questions and want things to protect people before it's too late? Coming from a place of gun safety, obviously, you've thought about that subject a lot, I would imagine.
That's how my mind, I'm just wired to try to prevent something bad from happening. Some people are like that. I never knew that's what my problem was, but I am like that. I can look at something. I had a friend tell me that a few months ago, David, and he knew your friend, David Cox. Me and him would talk. He's in heaven now. Now, I miss him because he's talked me through this last year. Because you can't talk to a lot of people about like what we're talking about, only a few. I mean, that are on the same
Okay, but
page.
hold on a second, because you've just as exemplified brilliantly what I was hoping to hear you say, because it matters. And it matters, and activism and knowledge is the only way you can actually remedy a problem. Would you agree to that?
Oh, yeah, and telling the truth. I
Okay,
mean, yeah.
bingo. That's the money shot right there, my
Yeah,
friend.
oh, I know. Yeah, we're here because of all these lies. Them covering up for Trump.
Oh my
Uh,
God,
84.
you are spitting fire right now. Now, let me
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't stand a lie. I mean, I told you yesterday, I
ask this
hate money. I
question,
hate
Leslie.
people.
Let
But
me
a
ask this.
lie,
Let me
go
ask this
ahead.
question because I want to get Roseanne in here in a minute, but I got to hear you stay on this point real quick because you just really got me with your understanding of Eric Prince. Tell me what you know about Eric Prince.
All right. So in 2017, when all that was coming out after the Hillary election and Facebook was having all those, because there was women in there then, remember, when they were having all those hearings? And, and so I've been watching Congress like a hawk the last 11 and a half years now. And so I watch everything they do now. I mean, I don't go on C-SPAN and all that shit. You know what I mean? I keep up just what they're doing. And so they were having all those hearings, and Peter Thiel had come up as the CEO of Facebook, and they were blaming him for
No, no,
all
no,
that
that's not Peter
bullshit.
Thiel. Just so you know, he's not CEO of Facebook. That's Jeffrey
Yeah, he
Zuckerberg.
used to be. Yeah, he used to be.
Well, he was no, he
In
was an investor. He was the early investor. That's that. So he was a big time investor in Zuckerberg. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, so that had come out, and then Eric Prince. So at the same time, something had come out about Eric Prince. Uh, a reality winner, like I said, had been locked up for 6 months. I was going on Twitter. I would take the local news and video it and put it on Twitter because Twitter really was changing the world. I mean, when I went on there as Leslie, the woman that would change the world, that was why I went up under that name. Because by the time I wrote that paper and come out with all these abuses from 240 years, that I first thought was just guns, but then ended up being everything, sex trafficking and everything I got in there, cops. Uh, when I went on there and I knew they were lying about Reality Winner to the whole world, to the whole country. People are just now figuring out the news and all that's been taken over. It was taken over in 2017. I watched it. So I would go and let the whole world know what was going on with Reality Winner here in Augusta. And I would tweet to Trump every day because he couldn't block me, and I'd call him Satan, and I'd be like, Reality Winner says, "Hey, I messed with him so bad." Now this went on 6 months before they threatened to kill me. So Eric Prince, I outed Eric Prince right before I got threatened to be killed on Twitter. I had outed Eric Prince as the one that did Benghazi. I said Eric Prince is the one that did Benghazi, did it on purpose, and and ISIS. I had figured out he was ISIS too all them years. And then they do this stuff just like killing that girl Renee Good last week. They do it and then they use it for social media and use it for propaganda. Then they know where everybody stands. They harvest all the damn. They've been harvested. They're the one harvesting everybody's data.
Damn,
That's why they know exactly
you
where
are
everybody is.
you are on the money. You are on the money. And by the way, I guarantee you, Gaza has had a lot of the sort of experimental activity along those lines, especially as it relates to Peter Thiel's company, which is of course
Oh, there's proof of him. That's how I put it together after the election.
yeah.
He's the one, somebody on a Mint Press News. So after the election, Elon, I was pissed at because 2 nights after the election, girls were coming on Blue Sky. Oh, well, let me tell you why I disappeared, though, right? Okay, so in 2017, November 2017, 6 months after they arrested Reality Winner here, and I'm putting it all out there. And then I call out Eric Prince as being the one, Benghazi. I got threatened to be killed within, like, I mean, a day. So I got threatened to be killed. Now, I never check my comments. I don't give a shit what nobody says about me. You know what I mean? I don't waste my brain cells on it because I know I'm a good person. You know what I mean? There ain't a dirty bone in my body. But anyway, I don't pay no attention because people fuck with you. So I never paid attention. For some reason, I got this message. I think they tweeted it. And I would, so the whole time I took Congress out of power, I took Congress out of power February 2016. We don't need them anymore. I would tweet that all the time. So somebody tweeted out to me after I brought out Eric Prince, and they said, we're going to have to take you out. And so I messaged Jack Dorsey. I sent him. I said, Jack, because I'm like with you, I put everything out there. My address is all on the Constitution. I don't hide from shit. I welcome Phil and Elon come to my house when I wrote my damn declaration right after the election. Bring it on. This is between me. I'm at war with Elon, Phil, and Prince, tell you the truth.
Well, you're at war with all the right guys. But you know what?
Yeah.
Roseanne, she talked about Palantir here. How many times? I mean, this is just extraordinary what Leslie is referring to us, just in terms of her intuition and where she goes. Where do you want to go with the dialogue?
Where I want to go is to say it's amazing that the three of us got together. That's one thing. I never saw Leslie on Twitter. There was something, Leslie, that you said, and it wasn't only about women. I believe it had to be about homelessness, okay? Which is how the two of us got connected. And I showed you something about how I go out in the street and feed people. But what I find really interesting is that I came to understand the big problem, okay? You know how you said you noted you understood the big problem was Congress that your
Mm-hmm.
daddy told you, okay?
Yep.
Now, much earlier, and I'm older than you are, okay? And what it wasn't my dad, my mom, it wasn't anybody. It was because I grew up in Chicago, and what got me to understand the big root of the problem is absolutely connected to what you're saying, the Congress. But I saw a precinct captain come to my mother's door, and I'm a kid. I'm like 10 years old at the time. Comes to the door and says to my mother, gives her a piece of paper and says, this is who you're going to vote for. And when you vote for them, we will give you how many free tickets to the circus do you want? And do you want a new garbage can? So it's clicking in my head that these people, this backroom stuff in all the neighborhoods in Chicago that are led and given orders by the Daily Machine, they go out and they tell people, here's who you're going to vote for. And when you do that, we'll do this for you. Well, wait a minute. I'm a kid and I'm thinking, no, you don't tell me who to vote for. And
What year was that? When were you 10?
I was 10 in 1959.
Oh, you're about, okay, yeah. So you're about 8, 9 years older than me. All
Okay.
right. Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking
Okay.
about then. I was just
So,
curious how old you were.
yes, it is Congress, but
Mm-hmm.
who makes that Congress possible? We
Mm-hmm.
make the Congress possible. We're
Exactly. I know.
supposed to make the Congress possible, but
Yep.
we can't make the Congress possible if the Congress is serving and
Yep. Oh,
feeding.
I hate to interrupt you, but I just got to tell you this because this is going to make sense to you. So I knew nothing about Congress. I don't know if did you hear me and Patrick talking? Could you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know my story. Okay. When I started studying Congress, I had heard Congress my whole life, right? This is what blew my mind. So you hear Congress, oh, Congress approved this, Congress didn't approve this, Congress blocked Obama. And then when I find out it's 535, and I cuss a lot, I'm sorry. But when I find out it's 535 motherfucking people controlling every part of our life, I got so fucking pissed. And so I go in Daddy's room and I said, Daddy, what are all these words? Representative, senator, secretary, this. He said, daughter, they do that to confuse people. I mean, my daddy's the one that guided me to all this. But when my anger takes over, one reason I stay on women and children, that's from my daddy. Because when I started going out in 2016 and get angry, and well, my anger used to, I've learned to control it the last few months because with everything going on, it's really been hard on me with all the abuses. And I'm learning to do good because I can't change the world if I damn lose my mind. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty mind strong. But I did start back smoking. I quit in September. I used that as a crutch after the election. The doctor, everybody knows it. But anyway, I quit 10 years ago. Congress. I'm sorry, but when you say that word Congress, that's what I want our young people to know. My biggest thing is educating these young people that they don't find out what that word means at 46 freaking years old. You know what I mean? That they understand these abortion, all this shit, and all these women being abused and kids abused every damn where. And then we get told we're in the best country in the fucking world. And then I get heartbroken at 46 years old because of something I seen on my TV that now we know Eric Prince is the one that did it.
Look,
I mean,
this is beautiful, Leslie, and I'm gonna step in here just real quick, and I want to revert back to Roseanne here shortly, but I want to use the time because we could talk for days, obviously.
Yeah.
People's attention don't last for days. They last for a short period of time. And I want to be able to walk you through what you just said, which is the perfect jumping off point into the Clean New Deal, and just see if there's any questions and also use it as a surrogate to a larger audience out there who might be asking similar questions and quite frankly be amused but at the same time like prolifically astounded like I am that your instincts are right on the money, right? Because we are going to have a midterm next November that is going to be the most important midterm in my lifetime. Now, I've heard the most important midterms of our lifetimes the last, I think, 4 or 5 different midterms, right?
yeah.
However, now it's over. Now it's over. Everything that you saw in 2017 was building to this moment. A lot of what you saw was in the shadows. Now, what we see is right in front of our face. I hate to use the analogy, but they got Renee Nicole Good 3 times in the face as an exclamation point to what it is that this whole purpose is all about. So, first and foremost, you mentioned you were in real estate. My journey
Mm-hmm.
began because of the 2008 great financial crisis. Like millions of people, I got swept up in the largest, what turned out to be criminal conspiracy and cover up in the history of the world that never ended, that nobody understands, that everybody, particularly in media, thinks they understand. But most people in media are full of shit or stupid or hiding what it is that we're revealing, first and foremost. So people like
Yeah.
you who have great instincts have to go, my God, what the hell is going on? That's what I did. Now, the difference between you and me isn't a big difference. I just happen to come from a background where I had tools in my career to know how to do certain things like this, right? I
That's
studied,
why I told you you were a blessing to me because of that.
I studied,
Because that's where I don't do good with that.
I
I'm not
studied
good with that.
political science in college. Did very well in political science. I did well in business and journalism. I also studied journalism, but I did really well in political science, so I understood systems. Okay,
Oh wow.
when I came out of college, I ended up as a producer. I worked in Hollywood mega structures, in media, and I got a front row seat to how the sausage is made. Okay, I wasn't at head of a news network. I was actually working in the entertainment division, blah blah blah. So it's slightly different, but what I understood was the matrix of power. How
Yeah.
decisions how decisions get made, who makes them, and what the apparatus is. So that was really my learning for about 30 years. Then
Oh.
in 2008, I was a professional. I had already been doing production for a long time. But the world fell out, and I was into my first home that I owned with my young family. I had been recently married, and we had a young son. Still have a now older son. It was a long time ago, but my world got rug pulled. I got completely thrown into an avalanche of the 2008 great financial crisis, like literally millions of people. Now, those millions of people, many of them led to an outpouring of what the fuck is going on here in what was known then as Occupy Wall Street. And I ended up making my first documentary, which was prologue to ultimately the work that I did, which was called The Con. Now, the key to The Con was that it was an investigative, think of it as like in a fictional depiction, you know, investigators and FBI type folks and people that are in the system doing the exploration to get the evidence of finding big crimes so they could hold it accountable, right? I ended up doing that because everybody you identified, Congress, the media, and particularly the Supreme Court, and as it turns out, the Federal Reserve, which constitute some of the most important institutions in the United States. And I think I mentioned, but I meant to say DOJ, the Department of Justice, okay? And all of those institutions are there to prevent what it was that I was going through. So I had to start pulling the threads and discovering why they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Now, along the way, like you, I learned so much about each institution, what they do, what they don't do, all of the politics, this, that, and the
You
other.
started watching shit like I did, but the other shit, like guns and stuff. But you were watching financial shit.
Well, that because money is the lifeblood of everything. But what you identified is the guns, is the power, and then intelligence is another way a lot of that's manipulated. So throw money in there, and then you've got your three-legged stool, right? But to continue this thought forward, just as it led to where we are today, right? So ultimately, what we have right now is pure chaos. There are millions of people right now acting as if they're surprised by what's going on in Minneapolis, first and foremost. Anybody who's surprised that we're on the verge of martial law, given what we saw on January 6th, given what we've seen throughout the entirety of since the summer, the National Guard in Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, D.C., ISIS.
Oh, man, I know.
And
it's been rough for somebody that
and like I said, going back to what you said with Peter Thiel, we've seen now 3 years in Gaza, and that's a whole nother story. But I use Gaza from this perspective most importantly as it relates to Peter Thiel. I believe that was a test run in a big way to prove to the world exactly what you were saying, how you get information on people, where they are, how they react, how they expose themselves. And we're seeing a step and report, Pete, version 2 right now in Minneapolis or blue sanctuary cities. And, you know, of course, Trump and MAGA had been saying this was coming, I think, since long before the election. So
yeah, because they were doing it.
Right. Anybody surprised by this right now is a fool. But at the same time, I understand emotion and people getting so upset.
Everybody believed the lies that it was somebody else that has been them the whole fucking time.
That's right. You know, and it goes on and on and on. By the way, Peter.
I believe Bill and Eli and Eric's been the NRA all these years. They've been the drug dealers and the gun traffickers in this country.
And sex traffickers, too. And I believe.
Yeah, the sex traffickers, yeah. I mean, they're great little boys all the time.
Also, the manipulation, the lies, the deception, all of the confusion. This is all intelligence-like tactics that we've seen for decades from CIA, KGB, blah, blah, blah. Mossad, you can put in there. So, look. Moving forward, though, to where we are at the moment, right? Yeah. Now, listen, there's a way that the government works. There's a way Congress works. There's a way all of the institutions are supposed to work. It all emanated through a 249-year evolution. Now we're going to have the 250th anniversary of the revolution this summer in July, right? July 4th. It'll be the 250th revolution of a government that came to be of, for, and by the people for all its flaws to fight the tyranny of then King George III and everything that constitutes. But that's what America was, separation of powers, and Congress has central power as being the people's house. That's the idea. And like you said, it's not the answer. Now, here's our choice right now, right? We've got the Republicans who are all in on MAGA. They're not going to do anything to stop Trump. In fact, they just authorized further, shall we say, authoritarianism in Venezuela. This just happened yesterday. And then the Republicans are not going to enable the Epstein files. They're going to do a show parade with Clinton. Yeah, Clinton was involved, but there's so many more involved, and we're never going to see anything here. And it goes on and on and on. But the long and the short of it is the Democratic Party is not a expression of what you're saying. the Democratic Party has people at the top. There's different versions of the Democratic Party. There's the billionaire.
I abolished Congress in August.
Say it one
On
more
video.
time.
I abolished them. I was going to offer it. I went to Washington, drove up there to get 500 women, 535 women to sign it, had the poster. Got up there, National Guard was there when they attacked Washington, D.C. So my aunt told me that she was living in Virginia. I went to her house and I left and I come home and that pregnant woman was dragged out of the truck. I sat in my kitchen. It's on my video. It took me 9 minutes. I exposed Elon, Thiel, and Prince to let everybody know that they have taken over a whole Congress, and our Congress created these three fucking beasts. They are fucking beasts. I'm not kidding you, these three.
Well, how about this? How about this? 666, the number of the beast. You know, and when I say the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince the world he didn't exist. Yeah, these people are pure evil. But let me just please roll this out because I want to get your reaction to it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen because what America needs to understand is that if we don't have a political movement, a civil rights movement on par with the civil rights movement, we have no way to save this country. We're going to.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I did already. I wrote a constitution. I named myself president after Elon's son named him president last year. My son named me president, and so I named myself president. Are you there?
Yep, I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, that's your stuff. What is all that?
That's just my screensaver. So I'm going to do Patrick Global Truth Bombs the Con and presents the Clean New Deal. Sorry. Because this is what brought us together, that you wrote a Clean New Deal for women. And I was encouraging you to go get this to as many women as possible because first and foremost, what we're talking about is the rape and pillage of the United States. That's what this is.
Exactly.
And I've noticed a lot of women generally have been very, shall we say, committed to our efforts because I think intuitively they understand the notion of rape. Maybe some have actually physically experienced it, but there's something intuitive that I've noticed that they understand when there's something predatory in their midst, right? They've got a sixth sense. It's just a natural way of things, right? It's just how things work. But in this particular
Patrick,
case,
I know, but you got to think like Roseanne. We were raised with Carol Burnett being funny, empowered. Mary Tyler Moore, then Three's Company. See, all these gay issues and all this were dealt with Sanford's son and Jefferson's. We were raised with that. So women my age and Roseanne's age, we were coming up when the women were the shit.
Yeah.
So we watched all that be taken away from us. That's why I told you I concentrated on women on your paper. I was hoping you didn't mind because I know for a fact our fucking culture was stolen from us. We were on track. Honestly, this whole country has been arrested. The development got arrested in the 90s from them three that I'm taking down. You know I am at war with those three. I'm not kidding you. I put that out there. I named them in my Declaration of Independence. I blamed them for Gaza, Ukraine. I did not know they were behind all of it. And then when I got in Eric Prince in June, I didn't never tell you why I disappeared. So when Jack Dorsey, when I sent him a message of who threatened me, I said, Jack Dorsey, somebody's threatening to take me out. It's only fair you tell me who it is because now this was November 2017. This was 3 years after me starting to fight, new Women's Congress. And so they knew I was fucking serious and they couldn't stop me because that's when all those women got in there. And Hillary was running too, remember?
Can I show you something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is one of my documentaries, okay? This is called The Con. I want you to just watch this. Unfortunately, you can't hear the music on YouTube because it's copywritten and there's some interesting things, but you'll get the gist of it. But here's a trailer to my work. I want you to react to this after you watch it, okay?
Okay, I had to pick my phone up. I'm nearsighted, so I can't see.
Just an average American who lost my home and very nearly my family to foreclosure when the market imploded. And I've spent almost...
Oh, I watched that yesterday, that part you sent me.
Okay, let's just watch this for the audience. I want to hear you react to this after you watch it.
Clear that my story was no different than millions of other Americans. We all thought that we were alone. We all thought that we'd failed. But none of us really knew why.
With a gun in her hand, Addie Polk apparently shot herself in the chest as deputies were knocking on her door with eviction papers in hand.
The dramatic increase in mortgage fraud cases was the canary in the mine. It was the warning.
This was money chasing people. This was not somebody looking for a loan.
It was all designed to maximize profits for all of the different players.
The person who sold you a loan made more money if they sold you a higher rate loan.
They were sold a lie.
They're selling to their very clients these loans that they know are a disaster.
I lost my home, not because of money, because of fraud.
I don't believe Addie Polk took out the mortgage on her home. I don't believe she signed any documents.
They just generated all this junk, took home huge bonuses, and then when it collapsed, they said, oh, not us.
This notion that the financial crisis was there wasn't fraud and there wasn't crime is absolutely wrong. It's dead.
They were targeting, in many cases, minorities.
We were waiting for the leadership to say, go. That never happened.
The investigation was suppressed.
This was all part of the same puzzle that was falling apart.
This is the largest conspiracy of lies in the history of the world.
This investigation has just begun.
Can you tell me your reaction to that?
Oh, my heart's beating out of my chest. Because you know what I see when I see that? I see all them women that lost their houses with the children. That's what I see. And how our fucking government let it fucking happen.
Okay.
That's why, because I've been lucky.
Can I explain something to you real quick, please? And I hate to sound like a mansplainer, but I got to tell you because I've got a lot of information. So you're exactly right. The government did allow it all to happen. And the bottom line is that what we ended up doing, it was very similar to Epstein in a sense that, you know, that women, particularly with children, what's the most important thing in their lives? It's their house, right? Their home. They need, right? So what the industry did was they set women up in liar's loans where they basically used a lot of tricks and tactics to get people to get approved to get houses that they were set up then that they would take their houses later. That's the ultimate in rape and carnage, is it not?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. And that really pisses me off.
It led to the murder, which I think is a murder. It was a suicide, but it was a murder if you think about it, because it was all intended, of a senior elderly woman there who obviously you really, really champion, who shot herself 5 times in the chest because they were trying to throw her out of a house that she lived in for over 4 decades that she owned. They stole her house.
That's why I do everything I do. We're exactly right there, because I don't want nobody else going through this shit. We're gonna educate the young where this shit ain't gonna keep going no fucking more, because we have technology now. See, okay. That's my blessing. That's why I'm the lucky one.
This is what I want to walk you through real quick. Okay, so just what I say here on the top, then I've gone the distance to understand these things, but I just make some declarations here. We don't live in a democracy. Our system isn't capitalistic. It's predatory, but it's also socialism for billionaires, and I'll get to that point. Corruption rules everything, to your point. Millions understand now the Project 2025, which is a lot of the guys you've identified. And of course, the Clean New Deal is the answer to turn the tables on this madness. Now, what we put forth here, and I want to walk people through this, and I want to get your reaction. First and foremost, we ask, what is qualified immunity? I just saw on the front page of the New York Times that the Trump administration is moving like gangbusters to give immunity to all ICE agents for doing what just happened in Minneapolis. That gives them the right to shoot, to kill whenever they want with no accountability. How is that possible? Well,
it's not going to be possible. That nobody's going to beat me. I've already taken the country. I did everything I was supposed to do, but people just don't know it.
The reason that is possible is because the Supreme Court of the United States made it possible. And the Supreme Court of the United States is corrupt, and they are unaccountable. Now, what they did was they created presidential immunity. Donald Trump is the ultimate, shall we say, betrayal of the American Revolution, because the American Revolution was, of course, a revolution against tyranny, i.e. a king. And then, of course, the tyranny of corruption has given us the tyranny of Donald Trump, who now wants the police to kill. And that's why I say corruption births and fuels fascism, because fascism is the ultimate tool of a right-wing military autocratic, let's say, in this case, Christo-fascist scenario where everybody is under the target except for those that, they want to uplift and they want to suppress everybody else. Now, the Electoral College is a tool to do that, just so you know. So it's another trick in their bag of tricks to basically steal the election.
Yeah.
When you put all of those pieces together, you understand that we are not a democracy, and nor do we function as free markets. So the answer to that is, and before I go forward, do you have any questions, or do you agree with everything that you just saw?
Oh no, I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, and we're going to need everything you stand for in our new government. There's a couple things I did know about, but a couple things, all I did was rewrite it. Yeah, I did take out, and I just rewrote it where a normal average person like me could understand it. But these days, oh, I'm sorry. These days, with so much information, especially everybody with all these abuses, you can't even think straight. I mean, people's lives are just totally upside down.
Amen. And thank you for exemplifying right there, because I think a lot of people can relate to the way you're expressing yourself. I think it's spot on. So I'm going to walk you through this just for dexterity, because again, people do not have a long attention span. I'm going to try to get through this really quick, and then I'm going to leave it open to closing comments. But the first precept of the Clean New Deal, I'm just going to make this simple, okay? Do you think people that destroy millions of people illegally through deception and criminality should then be paid trillions of dollars? Do you think that illegally, by the way? Do you think we should give criminals trillions?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I get so mad. Like I said, money and evil are my two things. And lies.
Okay, but the bottom line is, you don't think it's okay. You don't think it's kosher to be able to give criminals tens of trillions of dollars illegally for destroying people like women, right?
Oh, I think it's worse when the government fucking does it. I mean, everybody fucks up.
That's what I'm telling you they did. That's what I'm telling you did. I'm giving you information here that you can carry to everybody. We gave at least, this is very conservative, $71 trillion to a very tiny group of people to control our government, okay? Do you understand that 71 trillion, there's 1,000 billion in a trillion? Our entire capacity of our GDP, just so you know, for 300 plus million Americans is about $25 trillion. So we gave 3 times out of
that.
What's that?
How long was that 71 trillion? What time period did it take to give away that kind of fucking money?
Great question. Absolutely perfect question. We started in 2009. It was the first time in history this ever happened. So anybody who wants to challenge us can please I welcome anyone, especially economists with PhDs behind their names that come from the Ivy League. Please challenge me. I would love that. So the bottom line is it started in 2009. It continued through 2012 because of what we call quantitative easing. By the time we got to 2019, there was another repo run, which everybody should be aware of now. That was 71 trillion before COVID. We actually had more during
10 to 11 years?
Yes.
You got 10? Oh, hell no.
Okay, so let me just put it in perspective. Have you ever been near, you said you live in Augusta, so you don't live too far from the water. Have you ever seen an aircraft carrier?
Yeah, what, like an Army one?
Like a Navy one. Have you ever
Navy? Yeah, I've seen them. We have Fort Gordon right up there too.
Right. Well, I only say that is because it's a very impressive sight. So we have carrier groups that can take over countries, just so you know. And many of them, well, one of them is down in Venezuela and just basically ejected a president of Venezuela. A naval carrier group is extremely powerful.
That's what they're called? I didn't know that. No.
The entire budget of the United States Navy, I believe, is somewhere in the $250 billion range. Okay. I did
include that in my first declaration about that shit. All the money on
that. There's 1,000. I'm just trying to put this into perspective. There's 1,000 billion and a trillion. We gave 71 trillion to a tiny group of people. Okay. So you need to remember that money is never an issue about creating solutions to problems. When people say, where are we going to get the money? We got money to feed billionaire rapist con artists. Is that something you think we should change?
Oh, definitely. Dad, that's what I'm here for.
Okay,
Yes, all that's about to change.
then you completely agree with number one. We got to create a new modern day
Oh,
Glass-Steagall
I
Act.
agree. I agree with everything you have in there. But yes, that yes.
Second, we
The
got to
way you
end.
put it though with the global financial fraud, that's what people don't understand. We've been involved with all this shit, and our Congress approves it.
That's
They all
exactly right.
approve it.
That's exactly right. So here's the most important question. Can we send back people to Congress that have been a part of covering this whole thing up?
Well, I abolished all them motherfuckers. When they
Okay.
were letting them pregnant women get dragged out of the car in August and stayed on vacation, but they're all scared of Eric Trent. See, when he killed that congresswoman, he did it for a reason.
Okay.
To scare the hell out of the rest 535 Congress.
That's true. My point is that people out there watching this, if you're running for office, you need to understand the Clean New Deal, and we need to get new blood into Congress.
Yeah.
We need to completely.
Oh, that's why I did it. That's why I redid it, because I am going to be, I have got to have women to understand, and men, good men, and the young, 15, 16-year-old enough to start learning this shit. And with Taylor Swift fans and Beyonce, they're smart as shit.
That's right. So we need to get rid of, we need to end Citizens United, which is legalized corruption. We need to demonstrate how $71 trillion was stolen. We need to expand the Supreme Court to 13 justices to turn the tables on the corruption in the Supreme Court. We need to end qualified immunity so that police can't shoot to kill without accountability. We need to end presidential immunity so that Donald Trump's got to go bye-bye. We got to end the electoral college that makes it all happen, as well as judicial immunity. And then we need to institute terms for representatives so that we don't have corruption. And then we got to prohibit it, insider trading, like people like Marjorie Taylor Greene that got rich in 6 years and is now leaving. Did you know that Marjorie Taylor Greene had a paycheck of $160,000 a year, that she was actually making $4 million a year plus? Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I learned that last month when she started all that shit.
Right.
And why she was retiring after January 6th.
Does that surprise you?
No, because she was she never got elected anyway. Elon used her for guns. Yeah, it used to make me sick. Her and Lauren Boebert. Nobody understands how they just came out of the works. Elon and Thiel have been rigging our elections since 2000 with Al Gore.
You're exactly
we just didn't
right.
know it.
So is there
we just didn't know it back then.
Is there anything on this list you disagree with?
No. I actually, before I texted or sent it to you yesterday on that end qualified immunity, because I worked on it that whole day before, I had a dash and I put no cop can kill whoever they wish and get away with it. And then behind in presidential immunity, I had a dash and it said that we'll never have a president like Donald Trump again be able to get away with his shit, whatever. And then, I put a couple things behind the institute term limits. I had dash. I took back and I went it because if you try to put too much in somebody's mind, so I was hoping people would just know what that meant, So I erased it.
Well, listen, Leslie, I appreciate you as a human being and everything you stand for, and I love your activism, and I love how on fire you are for all the right reasons. I'm going to turn it over here to my colleague Roseanne and let her carry us out. And I want to just say thank you so much for your time and your commitment. I really appreciate it.
You too. I think me and you and Roseanne can form a whole new fucking government just from our fucking knowledge and our passion. That's what I think.
Leslie, I know that with the information and all the details that Patrick has been given me and given all of us, that's how we never met. We just met over the internet. I mean, since the last 5 years, he and I have gotten together, and I go to Salt Lake and stuff. But what we have to do, we have to educate, and everything that you saw in the Clean New Deal, you understand it, it fits in, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it fits in with everything you have been working on, which is what we're trying to tell everybody. You've got the Clean New Deal.
Yeah.
You got the corruption at the top. You got the money that gives them the power. The money and the power go together. So,
Amy.
right? So
Oh
we get
yeah, I
together.
feel like that's why I told you that when I found y'all in the middle of the night that night, I felt it in my soul.
That's
Because
what's so important. You gotta feel it. And
yeah,
I, I have to say this, we as women
yep.
get it in our gut. We understand it. It's running through our veins.
Did
And
you hear what I said about the women, us watching Carol Burnett in the 70s and all that? Me and you were raised when women were kicking ass. We watched our development get damn stopped. You know, that's
what though?
bullshit.
But see, here's the thing. We went through that period of activism and we did get action. We got the Vietnam War stopped. But
Yeah.
what happens when Nixon resigns and Gerald Ford pardons him? That's like the beginning of the end. The
Yeah.
law we have to have right now, we have everybody lying to us. The law has lost integrity.
I know.
Trump
Yeah.
and the administration can say whatever they want. We have to get the people power out there to share and show our power. No more lies, no more felons, no more pedophiles, no more, no more, no more.
You
So
know what I feel like, Roseanne, and you being a woman, you'll understand this, and Patrick will too. But when that shit was put on my TV in the middle of the freaking night in 2014, first of all, those fucking 4 stories shouldn't have never, you know what I mean? That was not normal. I've been watching TV my whole fucking life. That was not normal. I knew it. But it was designed to fuck with women's head. You know what I mean? I knew that. But never knowing what was going to all fucking happen.
And that's why what we have to do
is educate
we
them.
have to focus, okay? We have to focus. You have to, all three of us, we follow each other. We introduce each other to other women and men who understand that corruption's at the top and we have to crush the corruption with our power. We have to be the voice. We can't just be run over here, run over there, look at this one, look at that one. No, we have to focus because everybody knows when you tell them, oh yeah, follow the money. Well, follow the money. We can show you how they stole it, how the Congress gave it to them, how it went through the Fed. We can show you the details. We are the educators. We are the deliverers of the truth. And
Well,
that's
that's
what we
why
have
we're
to
all three
do.
on the same page because of that, and I do know that us three have in our minds seen the problem, come up with solutions. Now,
That's right.
everybody else,
That's right.
they don't even can't believe this shit's happening. But we all three seen the shit happening years ago.
So,
but a lot of other people have too. I do got to say that. And then we got the independent media coming out. But our news being taken over was it. You remember Rush Limbaugh in the early 90s? I had never heard a man talk like that in my life. But I was busy with having kids. You know, my stepdaddy liked him. But I couldn't believe how he talked, his tone of voice. But come to find out, he was one of the first motherfuckers from the line on the news. I didn't know that. You know, now I'm older.
I was.
But you remember him, don't you?
Yeah. Now, I was a kid and I used to work in our grocery store, and we used to get two different versions of the paper each day, the morning paper and the evening paper. And we had three papers, not one, we had three papers. So I said to my grandmother, I says, Gram, how come all the newspapers got the same headlines? I said, do they all get together and make up what we're supposed to see? That was in the 1950s. In the 1950s. And look at and I'm a kid, and what do I know, right? But it just hit me. And it's like, look at what we have today.
I know, yeah.
Right?
The same fucking shit. Yeah, where they all say the same bullshit. That's how you know it's all bullshit. And back in the day, the local news, they would run and fight for a story, whoever got it first. Now, that was when I remember the 80s, be like, oh, Channel 6 got it. Nobody else got this story. Now they all say the same shit.
So
I don't even watch none of that shit.
You have said so many words that are just, Patrick and I have been saying and saying, we have to stop the lies. We have to crush the corruption. We have to have integrity in the law, and we can't get integrity in the law until we get everybody who's running for office to have integrity in their heart and their soul and their mind.
Yeah.
We just have to bombard them. We have to be that force. And I know
we're going to do it. I mean, I feel like you, my sister, you can't. I mean, I feel like Patrick's my brother in this fight. I'm not kidding you. I mean, but we're going to do it. When I found y'all, we're going to do it. I'm not kidding you. I know already. I named myself president. Nobody can beat me. I disappeared. I'm sorry. I never told Patrick the rest of the story when I disappeared.
Our hashtag. Listen, this is what one of our hashtags is this. Ready? Failure is not an option. We don't
failure is not an option.
Failure is not an option. Okay?
That's right.
And what's going on is not that complicated. It's not rocket science. It's racketeering.
Yeah.
They are screwing us every which way from Sunday and twice on Saturday. Okay.
Well, that was my goal 10 years ago, Roseanne. When I told you I found out it was only 535 people.
That's right. That's it.
535, and now every one of them's corrupt, and everybody wondering where the fuck they at. It's because they all corrupt as shit.
That's right, and we can do
so much money, and they're going to get facelifts, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, millionaire now. All of them have fucking screwed our country over and abused women and children, but they got the wrong woman when they got me. When I met you, you got the same passion in you of exposing corruption. I want to teach everybody who the fuck Congress is. I don't want no young person. So every one of my blue sky things, I call out 535 Congress. I said, y'all, we don't even need them no more. I've already taken them out. I knew what to do. I abolished them. I knew what to do for the Declaration of Independence, right? But with everybody so messed up in the head, like you said, we're not only educating people, we're fucking correcting 40 years of brainwashing.
Yeah.
I mean, these motherfuckers, they don't even know. But I don't fall for none of that bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't.
Right.
I know if I don't feel something's the truth or whatever, and it don't make sense to me, that's my feeling. You know what I mean? I can feel how I want. But it trips me out how people just ignore it. You know, I've got a good neighbor. I got two good neighbors. Well, anyway, she's older. And she said, Leslie, you know what? I feel like you do. She told me this over the summer because I get passionate. And she said, Leslie, I feel the same way you do. I just don't have the nerve to say it. My sister feels like you, but we just keep our mouth shut. You know, they were an abusive relationship. I don't keep my mouth shut.
Can't
That's one
keep
thing
your
I ain't never
mouth
done.
shut. No keeping the mouth shut.
Oh,
No.
I don't keep
No.
my mouth shut. I tell the fucking truth. And if something's bothering me, my kids know that. My whole life, I have to get it off my chest if something's bothering me. So I already know there's nobody that can stop me. I mean, you know what I mean? All right, what I've already done, I'll tell you the truth. So when I disappeared in 2017, when Jack Dorsey, I messaged him who threatened to kill me. You know, I said, Jack, it's only fair. They know my name, where I'm at. I put my number out, everything. I'm not scared of shit. I said, Jack, it's only fair. He didn't answer me the next morning. But guess what happened the next morning? There's fucking cops everywhere blocking every entrance to my neighborhood. Weirdest fucking shit ever, right? Well, I didn't know. I knew it was weird. They were down there and they had this white van pulled over. Anyway, was going somewhere and I come back and it hit me. I said, oh my God, I think somebody was coming to kill me, right? So I come back home, closed all the fucking curtains. I told me Daddy was ready to go down with me. We thought a drone was going to hit the house in 2016, but it was worth it to him, you know what I mean, change the government. And and to stop gun violence. But anyway, so I come back in, my son comes in and he goes, Mama, so I'm fucking deleting everything. Boy, I get off Facebook, I scrunch my whole phone. But what happened that morning or the day before, my phone got attacked by a Google and an Amazon ad and I couldn't do nothing with it. And it was so weird to me. And now we see Google and Amazon is in on it. But that was Elon and Thiel. But anyway, so I come home. I got off everything. Nobody even knew I was alive until I threatened Elon 2 days after the election. And they didn't even know I was still alive. So I told Mom, I'm not stopping this time because I actually got what I wanted last time. 92 women got into Congress in 2018. I was so proud. They were the ones fighting Trump all them years ago. That's why he didn't get away with all that shit. And then, but I didn't know they were behind closed doors, fucking blackmailing them and buying them off again. You see what I mean? And then when Kamala, shit happened with Kamala. We all know Elon rigged the votes. I mean, the whole world knew it. And then they didn't even recount the fucking votes. I was begging them.
Hey, I gotta chime in. I gotta chime in there because again, here's another thing you just really checked off some big boxes. Look, I was saying in all of my truth bomb riffs, you know, long before, you know, Trump got to steal the second election, you know, I was like, Elon. And I kept, you know, basically trying to tag Rachel Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell because they weren't talking about Elon at all. They literally didn't talk about Elon until the day of the election. Okay. Meanwhile, it looks pretty crystal clear that they sabotaged the election. They probably still, well, we know they tried to, you know, rig the electoral college in the swing states and, you know, steal with fake electors in the 2020 scheme. We know that, and Rachel Maddow knows that. But they were able to do something digitally, and we also know there was anomalies in swing states that are just statistically impossible. And there's no mainstream discussion.
Oh, he did it. No, he did it. I studied it right after the election. He did it. He was going around to all the swing states like you're talking about on his little private plane with his little boy. His little boy, a video even come out. I mean, Elon is proof he did. There's already
the
proof.
The point is they did something, and forensically we could easily sort it out if somebody had the will to do it. And the somebody in this particular case brings us full circle that we got to close on would have been Congress. Congress would have been the ones to do it, but the Democrats in the Congress should have done it. Instead, they caved. We saw a picture with Biden shaking hands with the insurrectionist in the Oval Office. I was posting all over Facebook at the time that, oh my God, here's Neville Chamberlain part 2. The whole time during the election, you know, and I thought Kamala was a nice person, but I know where she came from in the 2008 great financial crisis, and I could certainly discuss that with everyone. But she was certainly not the prosecutor versus the felon. The DNC tried to sell us hope and change we could believe in part 2, and now they're going to try to sell us on the fact they're not Trump. Guys, Trump is not the mastermind. He never created all this stuff. Just like people like Eric Prince.
Yeah, stupid. That motherfucker can't do nothing but rape little kids and abuse them and kill them.
She's exactly right. And steal money and work on behalf of our...
Oh, steal. That's all he fucking does, too. Steal. I can't stand it. Oh, I can't wait to take him down. But, I mean, on my list, like I said, I got them 3. But, I mean, J.D. Vance and Trump, of course. But when I take down Thiel, Elon, and Eric Prince, they're going to fall. Because they're the only reasons they're there is Elon's
Watching
dealing with.
this, regardless of what you think, if you have the attitude that Leslie has, that's what we need. Because when I say, and I'm going to finish off with this, Leslie, and then I'm going to say adios. Okay, so I'm going to say, first of all, thank you for your time. But what I like to say to the American people is, A, if you, me, and everybody you see who isn't a Nazi, who believes in integrity and decency and dignity and beauty, sustainability, equality, if we merge in unity behind the Clean New Deal, it's our destiny to purge the misery of tyranny, to unleash the renaissance of possibility. But only and only if, just like our friend Leslie exemplified today, you become a nuclear reaction vector to the big bang of truth that we're dropping, because that's the only way to break through the dystopia of people's silos, people's ignorance, people's ego. That's a big, big part of it. People who think they know everything, and I can guarantee you, most of the people, the smarter you get up in the hierarchy of power, they become the ultimate tools in the fool circus. Why? Because of this, baby. Bada bing, bada boom, revolving door. Everybody lies. What we got to do is get rid of the liars, and we got to supplant this with the truth. And this isn't a subjective, theoretical, fictional, or I should say, what am I thinking about in terms of religion? Faith-based truth. This is subjective truth, man. Who did what, when, and how? How does the system work? We're giving you this $71 trillion truth and a way out of this madness. And I will say this as a last piece. Last night I saw Mike Figueredo. Mike Figueredo, who has the Humanist Report. He was a great podcaster, but he's young. He studied political science. He thinks he knows it all. We were interacting for a little while, but he's kind of part of this sort of clique, if you will, of people who literally depend on clicks and depend on the algorithms and to be in the ecosphere of like reacting to everything that's going on. And he did this podcast where he was interviewing people about revolution, right? First of all, if you have a revolution without knowing who did what, when, and how, and what you can do to fix the problem, you're just
ain't no fucking revolution.
and it's not going to win, right?
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of courageous people showing up to protests all over the country, and there always has been, and there always will be. But I'm sorry, throwing rocks against windows is not like having a budget within Congress to get the guns to be able to go do, smash grenades and all of these things that they paid these guys, years and years and years. And they're very good at it, quite frankly. They just went and got Maduro, a president ensconced behind a million-man military, and ripped his ass out of his presidency. They could pretty much do whatever they want. That's why we've been spending hundreds of billions on our military for decades and decades and decades. But guess what, America? We did not create a military to be a fascist military for a president that stole the election, had 5 or 6 deferments from Vietnam because he's a coward, from bone spurs, and he went bankrupt 6 times, and he actually is playing for our enemies. Astutely, people all over at Blue Sky are like, oh yeah, this is what Putin has always been planning. And I think that's really a big part of this, quite frankly. So, my friend, and Leslie, thank you. Roseanne, thank you. All women, power to women. Listen, we're trying to empower everyone, but women definitely have got to be, I think, the first litmus of this, because what happens when you become a victim of predation. You can't stay a victim. You've got to become empowered. But that goes for—
I didn't tell you what my daddy told me when my anger and stuff and running in his room all them years ago and 9 years, and he was like, daughter, keep it about women and children. And from that day on, every damn thing I ever tweeted and talk about is women and children. That's why I say it so much, my daddy.
Well, I'll tell you.
My daddy was a good man that appreciated strong women. I mean, he made me. But he was big time because he seen his mama abused, but it also led to him being shot. But my daddy's one told me to keep it about women and children, and he couldn't have been more right. I mean, now what are we looking at?
I agree with that. And the late, great Bob Weir also said, that's right, the women are smarter. Okay, guys, I got to run. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best to everybody. Take care. Peace, love, and happiness. But listen, we got to get on board now. Tens of millions of us have to get on board the Clean New Deal now. Don't wait. Yeah. Take care.
We're going to do it. Luckily, we all 3 found each other. Us 3, we're not going to stop till we get what the hell we want. So it's over with. I mean, I don't know what to tell all them corrupt motherfuckers.
Take care.
All right, peace out. Thank you. Peace and love.